Hey Internet people. I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while. When I first got the DFAM, I was having trouble syncing the sequencer on the DFAM to the sequencer on the Mother 32. I wanted every step on the Mother 32 to correspond to a step on the DFAM, but for whatever reason the DFAM was running at 2 or 3 times the rate of the Mother 32. And this is with the firmware update that came out last year for the Mother 32. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how I solved the problem of syncing the Mother 32 and the DFAM, but then also how I took an external sequencer like the BeatStep Pro and was able to use the Mother 32 as almost a pass-through to control the clock of the DFAM. Now I know there's a lot of other videos out there. Moog has a great one that I expect you will have seen, or I'll link it below if you haven't. But for whatever reason, these did not solve my problem, and I'm not still exactly sure why it didn't solve the problem. But after a little bit of exploration, I finally solved it, and I thought I'd share it with you. So here, let's go to the rig. Here's the Mother 32 and the DFAM. The textbook way to get the Mother 32 to clock with the DFAM is to go to the assignable outputs. And what we're going to do here is go to the setup mode on the Mother 32, which is pushing the shift button, the reset button, the set end, and then the 8. And this will give us all the pages that allow us to control a lot of the parameters on the Mother 32. The first page, indicated by the yellow, the first page is going to be the assignable output jack. And this allows us to, to say what is actually going to be coming out of this assign, right? What we're going to do is use it as the sequencer clock output, meaning that this is just going to be every step it's going to give an edge for a clock. So textbook, we would just take this assign and put it right over here into the advanced clock. And just also as a good practice, just to remind you that what you would do is before you set everything up, you go to the DFAM and you advance it to the last step, then you arm it by pushing it on, and then let's get out of here and be ready to go. I have a sequence loaded on the Mother 32 and a drum sequence loaded here as well, so let's hear what it sounds like. So what we can see is that the DFAM is moving at twice the speed of the Mother 32, and that definitely is not a good thing. If you look over here at the BeatStep Pro, if you press it, I don't find that particularly useful. So one of the great things about the Mother 32 is it allows you to take the pulses, it allows you to take the incoming pulses per quarter note and change how many pulses equal that quarter note, and the same thing with how many pulses it will output as well. So it gives you that flexibility to be able to choose how you want your inputs and outputs pulses to be structured. So let's go back to the setup real quick and let's see a little bit where we're at. So the second page is going to be your MIDI channel. The third page is going to be the tempo input jack. And the fourth one is going to be your clock input pulse per quarter note. And the fifth page is going to be your clock output pulse per quarter note. Right now, they are both set at 4, as you can see by the green. 4, it's blinking green, and then output is 4. Now, for whatever reason, this is not giving, the DFAM is not receiving this in the correct way. I'm not sure if this is a factory error. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong in any other way, but the following is the way that I've managed to solve a completely workable solution. And now the Mother 32 and the DFAM and the BeatStep Pro are in perfect working order. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go to the pulses coming in. First, it should be said that the BeatStep Pro sends out 24 pulses per quarter note. That's its clock. Its standard default clock is 24 pulses per quarter note going into the mother 32. And the Moog's default is 4 input and 4 output. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match the pulses per quarter note coming in from the BeatStep Pro to the mother 32. But to do this, we also have to take into account that the BeatStep Pro has a 16-step sequencer, while the mother 32 only has an 8-step sequencer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the input of the pulse per quarter note to be 12. There will be 2 beats coming from the BeatStep Pro to trigger 1 step advancement of the Moog. So if the BeatStep Pro is sending out 24 pulses per quarter note, we have to set the mother 32 for what it can receive. And the way to change the PPQN is just to go to the 4th page in the setup mode of the mother 32, and you can hit 1, 2, 3 PPQN, all the way to 8 PPQN. But you can shift up, and now you have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then the 7 and 8 shift double, so then it says 24 and 48. But if you'll recall, I want an incoming of 12. So I hit Shift 4, and that will be incoming PPQN of 12. Now, the next thing we do is we go to the output. And what this is going to tell us, if we recall, we already set it up so that the assignable output jack is going to output the PPQN to the DFAM. But I want to know how many steps should it move every time this makes a pulse. And this is set to 4 PPQN. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work for some reason. So what I have to do is, in the output PPQN, I am just going to do 1 PPQN. So now we'll remember we have to arm the DFAM, and by doing that you actually have to disarm it first, advance it to the 8th step so that the next step lands on 1, you rearm it, and now we should be able to see how they work together. They're flowing perfectly. And not only that, but now we have to also think about what are we going to do with the BeatStep Pro. I have the BeatStep Pro here. And let's see if we can see these at the same time. So now we can see the BeatStep Pro playing along with the mother 32. So just to quickly recap, you want to get into the setup mode, Shift, Reset, Set End, and 8. Then you go on the first page, you have the assignable output jack, and you have that go to 2. And then you go over to 4, and you then can choose the number of PPQN. Because of my BeatStep Pro, I choose to have it at Shift 4, which is 12. And then for the output, it is 1. And that's really important. It's 1 to 1. I'm not exactly sure why that fixes it, but it does. I hope that was helpful for you as you're trying to integrate your mother 32 and your DFAM, and perhaps there's some kind of setting that's out of the way and you're not exactly sure why it's not linking up, even though you're following the instructions of the tutorials and the manuals. Hopefully maybe this is a little way to kind of sidestep any of that unclarity. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.